All right. Come crawling faster. Obey your master. Your life burns faster. Obey your master. Master. That's right. Tonight on Cover to Cover, Master of Puppets by Metallica. Before we get into that, I want to get Jim's take since he was not able to be with us last episode. I want to get his quick take on Hotel California and see what he thought of
it. I'm going to start off by saying there's a couple good songs on the album. Other than that, I would probably rather listen to Journey.
Wow.
That's harsh.
And Steve Whiting knows how I feel about Journey.
I like Journey.
I'm not a big fan of Journey or Steve Perry.
Really?
But I would almost rather listen to Steve Perry.
Oh my God, you were missed than last week. Weeks ago. It would have been good.
Yeah. Would have been nice to have had the
it's like
man,
listening to the album, I felt like I was like waiting at the doctor's office, you know.
Wow. What a difference from today's show.
Now yeah, I enjoy the doctor's office.
I know you should never assume, but I'm going to go ahead and assume that all four of us have a common interest in this album.
Yeah. Big time. Big time.
So, Metallica's third album. It's the third studio album. It was released March 3rd, so it's got an anniversary coming up. It's the day after my daughter's birthday, so that's kind of cool. March 3rd, 1986. A somewhat lengthy recording period between December of 85. Not, longer than some of the albums, but shorter than some of the other albums that we've done. At Sweet Silence Studios in Copenhagen, Denmark. Which anybody who is in the know of Metallica knows that Lars Ulrich, the drummer, has his roots in Denmark, Danish descent. His father was a pro tennis player, all that bang, and I learned that Lars was on that similar path when they moved to the U.S. He was on the same path. He was going to be a professional tennis player, but some things changed.
He still sports the headband though, like an old tennis player.
Yes, he does.
Yes,
he does. And if you look at if you've seen some of the old photos and stuff of his dad looks like a metalhead. I mean, long hair, long beard. I mean, definitely didn't look like a tennis pro. And they secured Flemming Rasmussen as their producer, who was the engineer on Ride the Lightning. So they had some common ground. I was surprised to discover that they were originally interested in trying to get Geddy Lee to produce it, but scheduling conflicts, it never happened. That would have been kind of cool because during the 80s Geddy was getting more into producing stuff, so that would have been interesting. But I think approaching Flemming to produce it, knowing that they had already had a previous relationship, I think that well, obviously it worked because we see the result of this album.
Real quick, what do you think it would have sounded like with Geddy at producer?
Before you answer that question, Donnie, I'm sorry. Did he ever produce? If you guys know, did Geddy Lee ever produce like a heavy band? Did he ever get that opportunity?
I don't know.
I'm not sure.
But I would be interested to hear what his take would have been, 'cause
Yeah.
I mean,
There's
opposite, I mean, yeah, it's rock,
right.
rock music and metal, but that's two different genres,
Yeah. I think he probably, I'm thinking maybe he would have brought some more progressive elements into the studio.
Yeah.
Like, to try this or try that,
They might have had a jump moment on this album.
Right.
I'm just messing around. I don't think. But can you imagine on the synthesizer?
Oh yeah. I don't know about synthesizer, but
yeah, doing an Eddie Van Halen on jump. I'm messing around. I don't know.
That would have ruined the album.
Yeah, that would have. Yeah.
Especially the direction that the Rush went in the 80s.
Mm-hmm.
Ugh, no.
Grace Under Pressure or something from something like that.
I hate Signals. Signals is terrible.
What's the song that became a hit off of Singles? Something Man or New World Man.
I think I think it's New World Man.
Yeah. Hey, what's up? What's up, D? Oh my God! All right, I guess we got to go in the opposite direction. D,
well, real quick,
this album
with the comment of one of the greatest albums, I guess it is considered one of the greatest albums because I found out today that is it the Library of Congress or whatever, they have a preservation of this album.
2015
as an American cultural icon.
First metal album to do so.
Most impressive. I did not know that until today.
First what?
To be selected by the Library of Congress for preservation.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, I gotta be frank right now. I did no research on this album except fucking listening to it. Okay, I'm sorry. I got a story about it.
That's all right, Frank.
And thank you, Bob. But I have a story about it later. But I didn't know, so I'm just all ears. I'm gonna shut the hell up right now and just listen to you guys.
Well, I did minimal research on it too. The research I did do, I kind of don't remember most of what I read, other than the Geddy Lee thing. And the Library of Congress deal. I do know, aside from that, and it's the main reason that they selected it for preservation, was the significance of it, the cultural impact that it had on music as a whole and metal as genre, especially during the 80s. I mean, it definitely pushed it forward for sure.
Because this album, I want to say it topped, if I remember, it topped at like 49 or something like that. It got no radio play. They had no music videos, no nothing. This album was basically succeeded by word of mouth.
It was all grunt, yeah.
And I mean, look at it now. It platinum, first thrash metal album to go platinum. And it was basically all word of mouth, or seeing it at shows, or that's impressive.
A lot of it that really helped that was they went on tour with Ozzy, like right before this came out, and that just like pushed them into the stratosphere.
Yeah, they recorded the album and then went on tour with him, and the album come out, and they'd already been supporting it, so it was like good deal,
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of cool facts about this album, that I read. I mean, I can't remember them all, but once you dive deep into it, then you realize even more so of how much Cliff Burton was like a musical genius,
Oh my God, yes.
And how important he was to the band because he studied music theory in college.
Yep.
And they relied on him quite often in the songwriting process and he helped tweak it to make it, you know, musically theory correct, I guess. And man, me and him were talking about it last night. It's like, if Cliff Burton was still alive, because they said, you know, from say Ride the Lightning to this album, Cliff Burton was, you know, he was a little progressive as far as they were getting better. Even Hetfield was getting better with his singing. His guitar playing was fast.
Like they were playing like all like Hetfield's rhythm. All of the entire band were playing to him, which is usually the drummer. But he was just such a good rhythm guitarist. They just played to him.
Yeah, normally I guess the recording process is the drummer will lay down the tracks first, and then guitars and bass and stuff will come afterwards. Metallica started their recording process with the guitar. You know, I guess James would, I guess we would start with rhythm, and then Kirk Hammett would lay down the leads, and then the bass, and then the drums would be last. Or it would be James, Cliff, however it went, but guitar was first, drums was last, and normally in recording, drums is first.
I'm trying to hold my tongue because I have certain unpopular opinions about Metallica, and what all of it deals with Lars Ulrich.
Yeah, I don't like the guy myself.
There's a reason that the focal point wasn't on the drums, because he fucking sucks. He's terrible. And he's a jackass.
He is. I agree with that 110%.
Bit of a weirdo.
Because I don't know, Lil Bo's too young to remember this, but the rest of us,
The Napster stuff.
Napster,
Yeah,
all that horse shit that he raised about Napster and downloading and stuff. And you go to their YouTube page, and every fucking one of their albums is on there
Download button
for free. Are you kidding me?
You know what that comes down to? He was wrong.
Exactly. And we all knew it.
He totally missed the boat on that one, dude. And
We all knew it.
Yeah.
You know. But at the time, our argument was, dude, you spent your early years trading tapes, which that's the same thing that this is.
Yeah.
So Lars Ulrich, get fucked.
It really chapped my ass too after that whole thing, and how he was with fans and stuff when it came to that. And just like you said, people trade tapes all the time back in the day.
Especially,
Even I did it. I'd buy a CD, I'd burn it for a friend, or a friend would buy a CD, burn it for me, you know.
for a cassette, you would burn a cassette.
Something, yeah.
Yep. You know how many albums I bought after the fact? After I had downloaded? I downloaded a few songs, and then I went out and bought the album.
Because we're old, dude. We like the physical.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I like to read. Dude, today I opened up a book and I was like
the physical.
I was just smelling the shit out of my book, man. I couldn't.
You pull that up, Jim. I'm going to make you big. Look at that beautiness. I love that sleeve you have on it, too.
Beautiful, dude.
Ah, there's Cliff in all his glory. Oh, that's another thing I used to always say this. All the talent in Metallica passed on in a bus crash in 1986.
Yeah. But yeah, like I was saying, you know, I was having a conversation with him. It's like Cliff Burton was musically growing from each album that went by, from Kill 'Em All, Ride the Lightning, to this one. You know, Orion. You know, the Orion's like amazing.
Oh my God, yeah.
And so it's like, I told him, it's like, if he didn't die, what would have the next album looked like?
They wouldn't have turned the bass down on it. I know that much.
You mean, that's true. But if he was being progressive, could the next album have been like the Black Album, or could it have been like Reload? I mean,
to be honest with you, I think it would have been better.
It's hard to say where they would have went if he was growing. I mean, I don't know. I don't think he would have veered off that quick, but
he brought so much to the band and so many different influences and ideas to the band. And even Hetfield had said about everything. It's stuff that we weren't listening to that when he came into the band, we started listening to it because it made sense.
The Misfits, for one,
Yeah.
He introduced Metallica to Misfits. The
That's-
next thing you know, they're doing, a couple cover song Misfits covers, and
Literally.
that's what kind of helped blow the Misfits up nationally, I guess you could say. Steve Whiting.
Like,
How was it that he died?
bus accident.
The bus crashed, went off the road, crashed. He got thrown from the bus window from where his bunk was, and the bus landed on him, crushed him.
And then this was the tour band?
Huh?
The tour band that were all there?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, they were in Sweden when it happened.
I think Kurt.
Yeah, they did.
Kurt broke his toe, and James got a black eye, and he.
And a fun fact about that is kind of like the whole Waylon Jennings and Buddy Holly.
I was just going to say that.
They drew cards for the bunk. I guess one bunk was like the nice bunk out on the bus. They drew cards, and I guess the night before or whatever, it was supposed to be Kurt Hammock's a bunk. Burton got the card so he can get the bunk, and that was the bunk he was in when the auto accident happened. So it could have been Kurt Hammett.
I guess the moral of the story is always lose the draw. Don't win that draw. Don't get on the plane. Don't draw.
Never know. When it's your time, it's your time.
Yeah, it's your time.
I often wondered that too, Daryl.
Why did Mustaine get kicked out? I don't know the history. I'm not.
Dave was a raging alcoholic, man. He couldn't compose himself.
It was alcohol abuse, pretty much.
I always thought that was weird because Metallica ended up acquiring the nickname Alcoholica.
Yeah. Especially during the recording of this, because like every single night they were like out drinking the entire recording.
When they weren't recording.
Over a month every night. And I think there was a story I heard where.
But hold on, they were sober. They made it a point to be sober when they were recording. So when they were done laying down their tracks or whatever, they would go out and get blitzed.
Yeah. But I heard something where they got wasted and were playing poker with Merciful Fate, and they went out wrestling like out in the streets.
Nice.
So like
causing a big scene, having a good time, and they were wrestling.
That's awesome, dude.
With each other, being young, young, youthful, add a little alcohol to the mix.
Yeah,
with friends.
And you try your buddy out. And
good times. Good times.
That's a band I want another album from.
Yeah, that's just guys meet guys at that age. Bro.
Yeah.
Now we do that, and I'll get a cramp, taking a picture, shit like that.
Oh, real quick, back to Cliff Burton. Then we can move on.
Of course.
Another fun fact that I found out about Cliff Burton is his father passed away, I think, in 2020 at 94.
Mm-hmm.
And all of Cliff's royalty monies from Metallica went to, I guess, the Cliff Burton Fund, which was the money went back to his high school to help pay for scholarships for kids.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Which I thought was amazing. Even with that picture, that figure I sent you guys today, on the back it said, all proceeds from this go to the Cliff Burton Fund.
And
oh wow, that's awesome.
Going back to Cliff's
I
dad,
like that.
There's a video out there of him going through Cliff Burton's record collection.
I've seen it.
That's like an amazing video.
It's really amazing video too, because I was telling my wife, back in the 80s, listening to that kind of music was like shame, because, you got all these pentagrams and all this evil, just satanic stuff. You got this old man he supported Cliff for everything he did. He's throwing up all these albums with 666 and pentagrams and Hail Satan and this, that, and the other. And, it's like, dude, yeah, it may not be the right thing, but he's being a real parent and, you know, encouraging his passion. And, you know, maybe because of that, his legacy now lives on forever.
That's awesome.
But anyways, back to the show.
I was taking notes. I gotta add links to the thing. I'm gonna search down that one that Little Boat just said, and put it in the description, and also the documentary. What was it called? Hypnotize.
I'll tell you. Just give me 1 second.
Yeah. But I'm gonna add those links to the description, so you can check them out. That documentary was fantastic. I wanna thank Jim again for sharing that with us.
I still need to watch it. I was out today.
It's Saturday.
Yeah,
It's called
celebrating his son's birthday, so I just got home not too long.
Happy Birthday.
Happy birthday.
It's called Hypnotizing Power, the story of Master of
Yeah.
Puppets. It's 49 minutes long. It's a good documentary. Highly recommended if you're a Metallica fan. Or even if you're not, it's that good. It's in the Library of Congress, for God's sakes.
Yeah.
That's got to tell you something.
I thought that was what I had read that before I had watched the documentary, and I was like, wow, really? And it, you know, this was just a few years ago, but I mean, a huge impact.
Which is like ironic, back to, you know, being ironic. It's like, I don't know if you guys ever heard of the West Memphis Three young kids that got accused of killing
Yes.
so and so.
Mhm.
You know, they were into the metal scene. Metallica was always labeled with them, and they were labeled Satanists and this, that, and the other. And then society labeled kids who listened to that stuff back then as Satanists and so on and so forth. And now look at it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Now it's part of our culture forever.
That was a big taboo, bro. People were doing the backmasking and trying to figure out all the shit.
Yeah.
Those videos are hilarious, especially the one Stairway to Heaven.
Mhm.
You know,
Oh,
watch
yeah.
it. That one's a classic.
I remember I had the little 45 of Another One Bites the Dust, and I would get on my turntable and I would start going backwards. Oh, it's fun to smoke marijuana. Oh yeah, I hear it. It's fun to smoke marijuana. It's fun to smoke marijuana. And I was like, dude, you can make anything out of that shit, what they're saying, bro. It's ridiculous.
You know, Bill Hicks had a joke about that, and he said, you know, if you're sitting around spinning records backwards to see if they say something, you are Satan.
You look, it's like if you look, you will find, and that's what they were looking, and they, you know what, they found it, dude. You're gonna freaking find it.
And like, if bands like that really cared so much, they would just put it in the song anyways.
Of course.
Why would they go through all the work to make it backwards? And
Well, the Beatles did it. Multiple bands did it.
No, they did, but it was like, come on, dude, it's just a gimmick.
Yeah, it wasn't serious.
Doesn't mean you're freaking, you know, what is it? Sacrificing babies or whatever. Insane. Okay, Donnie, back to the show.
I think what I was gonna go to next was the comparison of this album with the first two albums and the different dynamic of James's vocals, and you can basically hear it. There's some elements still left over from the first two albums. Like there's a couple songs that you could clearly envision hearing on Ride the Lightning, but I always thought the thing that should not be, it always seemed kind of out of place, like it should have been on the Black album.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
so there's this is like their pivot point, their turning point in their career. It's like not just as far as success, but it was basically laying the groundwork for what they were going to do next. And that may stem from what you were saying, Jim, about Cliff's more progressive tendencies. But they had also said about comparing the tracking of Ride the Lightning and Master of Puppets, and how they had similar tracking as far as the way the intro, the first song, had that melodic intro, and then cut into that
right into
punchiness,
just like Battery,
Right.
Starts off slow and then turns into a massive thrash song.
Right. And the instrumentals, and James had brought that up in that documentary about the Cthulhu mythos, and that song being kind of an extension of Cthulhu. That thing should not be, because Cliff was a huge fan. I'm a big fan of Lovecraft, but he was a huge fan of Lovecraft, and you could see that in the stuff that they were, coming out at this period.
If you like Lovecraft, I might have to introduce you to a guy named Robert G.
Oh, G Man and I have had some conversations, man. He knows more of the stories than I do. There was one that I can't get out of my head. It's called The Walls of Eryx. Fantastic story about them getting trapped in this maze and shit on a different planet, and they couldn't see the walls. The walls were like invisible. So it's like, that'd make a great song.
Look at that. I still have not yet to see Metallica, and I've always wanted to see Metallica.
Never seen them.
I've seen them twice.
Oh,
Lucky.
Hey, here's my story. All right. I've been quiet. Let's get my story. Right?
okay.
Do that again, Jim.
What?
I've seen them twice. All right, guys. All right. Fine, vote. All right.
No, I'm just busting your balls, man.
I know, dude.
You're lucky. I'm just saying you're a lucky individual. I've always wanted to see him, and I really would love to have the opportunity to take this kid to see him.
Oh no, it wasn't a surprise. I took my sons to see them when they did In the Round.
Oh yeah.
When they did that, I took my boys because they're my youngest son is more of the rocker. I got a rap is my oldest, and my second son, he's more now he's into like the Dead and all that stuff, but back then he was into Metallica and everything real heavy, so I took him to that. But anyway, okay, I was into AC/DC, Rush, Maiden, all that stuff, right? And then of course what happened? The hair metal bands, Poison, Rat,
White Snake.
No. Not Metallica. Oh my God, Motley Crue, right?
Yeah, I've seen the Crew.
Okay, and dude, when we started hearing about Metallica, Metallica was like an underground thing, right? And I started talking to people, and I never heard Metallica, whatever. Oh, and they were like, "Yeah, bro, it's like skinhead music." That's the way they remember. That's skinhead music. I go, where do you listen to that? Where do you? And they were telling me, no, you go. There's the Kitchen Club in Miami Beach. There used to be the Kitchen Club, right? But you got to be careful there, bro, because it's all skinheads. They got they'll mosh and they'll fuck you up if you know that it's not dude, I got into it. I got my steel toes. I went with my friends, bro, and we started getting into Metallica and all that shit and going moshing. Nothing ever happened.
Let me guess. There was not a single skinhead there because they all had long hair, right?
No, there was a few skinheads. It was South Beach, but it's not the South Beach of today, dude. It's not the South Beach of today where it's all glitz and DJs and all this shit.
Yeah.
Like I saw Pearl Jam like in a little old theater there, but it was scary as shit. Metallica music when I first heard it, like Master of Puppets, it was scary because it was like, dude, this is not what this is not the beautiful guys with the fucking that look like this shit's.
When was this? Was this in the 80s?
This was in the 80s, bro.
Dude, so you saw them in their prime, dude.
I saw them at Monsters of Rock. That's why I'm bringing it up, because I saw them in 88. And I believe it was for this album. I don't think Justice for All had come out yet when I saw them. I might be wrong, but I don't remember them playing one, right? So I saw them at Monsters of Rock, and dude, I was blown away. They were the best. I remember it was Van Halen was the headliner. It was the Scorpions, Dokken. There was Kingdom Come or some shit like that, and it was Metallica just, they were like maybe the second or third band that came on, and they just blew everybody out the water, dude. It was just so crazy. But it was like you were saying, they kind of changed. You know how everybody says Nirvana killed hair metal, right? It actually started with Metallica started killing hair metal, you know, because it started bringing in all these harder bands. And dude, I remember I was scared listening to Metallica because it was like, dude, this is different.
It's kind of, I guess I guess you're right there too, because you know they were working on the hair metal bands before Nirvana, and you know your top five, you know, your Slayer and Metallica, Exodus and Anthrax and all those. So yeah, that makes sense.
I was like, dude, this is different than this crap that we're listening to here, and it kind of like started moving people away. And then when Guns N' Roses came out too, it was like, oh shit, these guys are even different. You know, they're still a little bit glam, but they were hard. They were more like Stones, more. But that was their persona. I think these people were the real hard ass badasses. But I remember I was like, oh shit, this is a little scarier. This is a little bit, you got to be careful going to a Metallica concert or whatnot. But that's it. Okay, I'll shut.
You're lucky, man. You're lucky.
I gotta hold the bottom.
There you go. You need a little saucer plate with that. You know?
Oh wait! I got my little my Jim Morrison coaster.
There you go.
Pinky's out.
Dirty dog, you.
And I've seen them twice.
Yeah, well, I saw Pantera twice.
I've seen them.
Anyways, back to the Metallica.
I haven't seen them either. I guess I never will.
You probably did, Steve.
Let me add something back to going to the album. Another something I heard that was real interesting, and you might have already got the notes on it. When they were trying to dial in Hetfield's new Marshall amp or Marshall amplifier and head or Mesa Boogie or whatever it was, dial it in, this and that. And when they started recording to get that thick sound on the guitars, that I guess it was Kurt and Jason or James Hetfield, or it might have been just James, I don't know, but I think it was both of them. They laid down 6 tracks of the guitars and overlaid them 6 tracks of this. And it wasn't one recording 6 times. They recorded that 6 times. So that's amazing to me that you can get 6 tracks of the same, no mistakes, no nothing, perfect, and then lay it right on top of it, and then another guitar do another 6 tracks. I mean, that's brilliant. And also the producer at one point had told them to tune down their guitars, and then he sped up the tapes enough to where it would be in tune as for another sound change. I mean, that's that. I was like, wow, when I heard that.
Crazy.
Not to mention that James and Kurt were like up for days on end just trying to mess with the amp knobs to get them perfect for the album, which must have been a little pain.
Well, they mentioned that in that documentary about they wanted to spend more time in the studio, and that was one of the reasons. I don't want to call it
Copenhagen.
I don't want to call it the sole reason, but that was one of the big reasons that they went there, because they got more bang for their buck. There was,
they got more bang for their buck, and they were away from any distractions in the San Francisco area, the party and the friends, this and that. And they had mentioned about, well, let's try and record in LA. But the price is what they were charging in LA for a month. They could have got 3 months in Denmark. So they went to Denmark. Plus, they had already recorded over there for Ride the Lightning.
And Lars knows the area.
Lars knows the area. Like they said in the thing, they speak English over there. They know American culture. So it's
Fleming was already over there.
Yeah. So
I think
it was a smart decision.
I think the quote was, they speak English, they know American culture, and they have good beer.
Yeah.
Correct.
Perfect.
Yep.
How many albums did this sell? How much of this?
A lot.
I think it's 6 times platinum.
Jeez.
Hey, what's up, Mike?
Yeah, 6 million albums, which give or take a few.
Yeah, and that's just United States too.
Yeah.
Which it is the most out of everywhere else in the world, but by a lot.
I'm gonna say probably a good 7-8 million. Which for that period of time, an album coming out then and being a metal album, to reach that height,
especially a thrash metal album.
Yeah, and peaking on the Billboard 200 at 29. That's pretty stellar. Top rock albums at number 7, so it was a top 10 album there.
Dude, I found out about it just from somebody else. I don't remember.
What's up, Mike?
I just found out by somebody else, but we didn't know anything about this. We never heard it. It wasn't on MTV or anything.
Steve.
No.
Of course he is.
Mr. Mike.
Better.
I just we'll talk about the album cover a little bit.
Which is a great artwork, by the way.
Oh my God, yes.
And for what it sold for, the original artwork sold in, I think, 2006 or 2008 for only, I only say only, but for what it is, it only sold for $28,000.
That's crazy.
Bet you it goes for a little bit more today, right?
Oh, absolutely. I would hope so.
That's a nice
$28,000. That's probably sitting in somebody's living room right now.
Yeah.
Can you imagine, bro?
It was designed by Peter Mensch and painted by Don Brodigan, which I don't know anything about the Brodigan person. But Peter Mensch was a manager for AC/DC. And he also managed Metallica and Red Hot Chili Peppers, Muse, Smashing Pumpkins, and the list goes on for him. But it's interesting that it was a manager that's made the design concept. The cemetery with the white crosses, and the strings.
Yeah.
And I never noticed the strings before, but it makes sense because, I mean, after all, it depicts the title basically.
Yeah.
Which is rooted within that song. Some of the elements that it applies to, but it can, Master of Puppets, it can apply to anything. It can apply to anything, anytime. Whether it be drugs or politics or what have you.
There was also a pretty interesting story about the inspiration for Disposable Heroes.
Mm-hmm.
Hetfield had got the idea because he heard a football announcer make the comment about the football players being disposable heroes.
Yeah.
About how they're played until their bodies are beaten, bruised, and battered. Then they tape them up and tell them to go back out there until basically their body is expired and they replace them with someone else.
Yep.
Such as, the military, kind of like the album artwork, it looks like a military cemetery.
Right.
And they kind of kept this theme going into the next album with one.
Yeah.
Definitely. It's
And I want to say, was it Ride the Lightning that kind of most of the songs were about death and dying? And
yeah, I think there was like 1 or 2 songs that didn't have to.
And this album kind of had the theme of like disposable heroes, military, subject matter and stuff like that. So I mean,
right.
I guess we kind of did that on Justice for All too with the military.
That before.
Yeah, there's even a helmet and dog tags. I don't know if you ever noticed the helmet in the corner.
where?
Yeah, it's not on there. Actually, I don't even see it on that one.
No, it's not on there.
On that one, but it's on this one. They got that's crazy.
Hold that up.
They got dog tag.
Yeah.
And a helmet.
Yeah, it's weird that it's not on that.
Yeah, dude, it's right there. Oh my god, yeah.
Which I didn't even notice that it wasn't on the other one.
Go back to the one you have, Donnie. Not on there.
Yeah, it's not on there.
Maybe, this is my theory, maybe that's just another way for them to say or to notice that this is a reprint per se. That, because how comic books do that too, don't they?
Yeah.
Or like certain like second print will have like a slightly different color type thing. Maybe that's just a way to notice that it's a reprint.
Yeah, because that super noticeable. It's on the cross.
Yeah. And this one too has wheat stems over the one cross. Does it have it on the record?
No, it don't actually.
It doesn't have the wheat. No, it doesn't.
It has a little brush over here, but not the wheat stems.
Donnie, make bold big again so we can see that. Oh yeah, they are, but they're different.
Yeah, it's different.
Yeah, it's totally different.
You know what? Now that I think about it, maybe because the person whoever bought the original artwork owns the rights, and maybe they changed it just enough to reprint the album cover. I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, I never even noticed the difference.
I remember the CD that I have is from 20 years ago, and I'm pretty sure the helmet and the dog tags is on the cover of that. So maybe this thing that just a random picture I found.
Yeah,
is, incorrect. Or the remastered, because they did have the 35th last year. I don't know if they released anything for that or not.
Who knows if the original art has the helmet and the dog tags? Who knows?
Yeah, it's interesting.
Great background on it.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
That orange sun. Oh.
Which that could be interpreted many ways too, you know, either a war going on or hell or
God.
a new beginning. You know, the sun's coming up.
It kind of reminds me of like a painting in a church, you know, and they're seeing like the crucifixion. Like there's a church here in I think where I was baptized, and it has a big mural, and the sky is just like that. It's totally like that.
Super cool cover though, man.
Iconic.
Simple but effective.
Yeah. Less is more.
Always.
Mm-hmm.
Most Metallica albums are simple.
Yeah, they are actually.
Yeah, I always loved Ride the Lightning's cover. I mean, that's my favorite Metallica album too. So, but yeah, analyzing, you did Fight Fire, Ride the Lightning. For Whom the Bell Tolls is an old war movie. Fade to Black, Trapped Under Ice, Escape, Creeping Death. I mean, yeah, death or escape, or that's pretty crazy. So, in a way, you could kind of consider, I guess you could consider them maybe concept albums without.
Yeah, because I mean, if you go by like the names of these songs on this album, there's a lot of having to do with control or being controlled. Just like Sanitarium, you know.
Yeah, I think.
Can we talk about that one? That's like, isn't that like one of their first like ballad type songs?
Yeah.
And people call them sellouts.
Ballad? You consider Sanitarium a ballad?
For Metallica, power ballad? I don't know.
Yeah, I never thought about it that way, but yeah.
It's got kind of a slower tempo than the rest of the stuff that they had done at that point.
I could see it. I just never thought about it that way, but I guess you know what? I could see that you are right.
But I've been listening to this album for 20 years. It never felt that way. It's one of my favorite songs on the album. So it's like,
absolutely.
So what you're saying is Sanitarium is this love?
Yes.
Yeah.
I don't see that.
I mean, it's still heavy.
It's heavy as shit.
Heavy.
It's my favorite song on the album.
I agree.
I freaking love Sanitarium, dude. I don't think of Master of Puppets. I think of Sanitarium when I think of this album.
There's so many good songs on this album. It's hard to.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be a traditionalist here, and I'm gonna, dude. Master of Puppets gets me hyped every time I hear it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's.
I still ain't tired of it.
No,
It gets me throwing the fist.
Yeah.
I don't think I'm tired of any of these songs.
I always think when I hear Master of Puppets break in that first intro, I think of the movie Old School when they got the van and they're burning them tires to go start picking up people.
Yeah.
One thing you should do is compare the in Master of Puppets the dun 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 dun. Compare that to the Doom song from the original Doom. They're like exactly the same. So
Dude, Master of Puppets, dude, the breakdowns, man, the changes.
Mike, that's
They
illegal.
changed like 4 different times, man, in the song.
and
So they could have made 4 songs out of if they just, you know, would have. They could have broke it up into 4 and made 4 songs out of the one they spent. I mean, how long is it?
it's
Almost 7 minutes? 8?
it's almost 9 minutes long.
It's 8.5 minutes long, dude.
That song goes by in less than 4.
And the changes, the
Yeah.
thrash, then it goes slow, then it goes a little faster, and then back to thrash and slow. It's like
Hey,
it's genius.
Little Bo, you don't know this yet, but you will. I think you might know this. This is a great freaking driving album, right? Driving with this album is freaking fantastic. It's awesome.
We listened to it on the way to Lowe's and Sam's Club this morning.
Great,
I'm
dude.
telling you, man, when freaking Master Puppets come on, I wanted to just roast them tires at the red light.
It's so freaking good. Orion.
Yeah.
Damage Inc.
That's like 3 different songs in one, right?
Kirk had mentioned about the previous 2 albums. They were cutting parts out because the songs were too long, and they just went full bore. That's why these songs are so long. What's the shortest song?
Hold on, I'll tell you.
10 minutes long.
No.
Battery is the shortest song.
Yeah.
Is it really?
5 minutes and 12 seconds.
Followed by Damage Inc.
Yeah, Damage Inc. That's like.
I'm surprised they were to
That's
fit all that in
really
one
long.
album. But
Yeah.
that wasn't a double album.
Yeah.
Yeah, Master Puppets, The Thing That Should Not Be, Sanitarium, and Damage Inc. are probably my 4. So I can't pick
You
one.
can't pick 4. You got to pick one, son.
I can't.
Hard. This one's hard, man.
It is. I've always liked Battery because that intro always reminded me of Classical Gas. And I don't know if you guys remember the before it changed to the WB, it was, what the hell did they call it? Channel 11 or something like that. But it always came on with this intro, and it was classical gas, and it was loud and furious, and I loved it. And the first time I heard Battery, I was like, this sounds like Classical Gas. That's crazy. But that melodic intro right before it hits, and they layer the guitars, and I don't know if it's like what you were talking about, Jim, with how they layered, but it sounds so thick, and the guitars come in like a full orchestra. And that's what I love about this album is how orchestral it is. It just
Oh yeah,
for being a metal album, it shouldn't be like that.
it changed to me. It's what kind of changed metal from that point on.
Yeah,
where it started getting more technical and stuff. I mean, look at it now. I mean, everything's like, even though, kind of like say from that to like Iron Maiden, it's like it's just all finger work now. But I think that for thrash metal and heavy metal and stuff like that, that kind of set the tone for the future as far as the technical part of playing your instruments.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I think of with this album?
Such as you might have to help me on this one, Donnie. Damage Inc. was kind of Cliff Burton kind of wrote that or kind of stole the sound from a Bach.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Comes Creeping. Was it
Yeah.
Death Comes Creeping, but it was in like a different language?
What was it? Yeah, it was in Swiss.
Yeah.
I forget what the original title of it was, but yeah, it's Death Comes Creeping or Death Comes Killing. I can't remember which.
Creeping.
Yeah. But yeah, and they had said about Orion how they just kind of let him, because he hated headphones, and they put him in the booth, and then they put the amp over and just left him go, and then they just built it out of whatever he had played, because Fleming was like, I don't know if I could use all this for one thing. He says, I gotta build it somehow. So they brought in the other guys and built the song around it. I'm going to be honest with you. That's probably what Cliff had in mind anyway.
Yeah.
That'd be a fantastic interview. Wish he was still alive.
Yeah.
How old was he when he died?
24.
24.
24.
Yeah. He'd be, 59 now?
Yep, that's how old my dad is. 59.
Your dad's 59? God damn, fucking.
Man, he was young when he had you.
Yeah. Yeah,
My dad's.
I'll be turning 41 this year.
My dad will be 70 this year. But I'm the baby.
Glad I'm not old enough to be your dad. But
How about older brother? We'll stick with that.
to be an older. Yeah.
Big brother.
I'd probably be an uncle. I don't know if I could be an older brother. I could be an uncle. Maybe. Yeah, I could be an uncle.
Hey, you're the same. My brother-in-law's your age.
I don't feel old. That's the best part. Like that.
Yeah, if you don't feel old, man, age is just a number.
It's a number.
I feel old.
Me too. I got an old body.
Too much time on the forklift. Anyway, so yeah, I mean, this album definitely. This is one. We've had a few of those, but this one I think definitely speaks for itself.
This album doesn't get old.
The flow of the album.
It was fun. It was fun listening to it.
Yeah.
I don't know if they recorded any other songs during these sessions, but if they did, they definitely picked the right ones.
This album's amazing. It's not a bad song.
No.
It's still fresh. It's still freaking makes me rock. It's an amazing album.
It's timeless.
It's like Little Boat says, I got like 4 favorite songs on this album. You could probably say there's 8 favorite songs on this album. Man.
To be honest, it depends on the day. That's the way I put it.
Definitely. When I hear Sanitarium, it always reminds me of Scarface. When he's saying sanitarium, I said sanitation.
Sanitation.
Not sanitarium, sanitation. And then Metallica brings out a Sanitarium song.
Yeah. I like the connection with One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I never looked at it that way. I always looked at it as, it's the way the world is. I mean, and I feel like I'm in a freaking nut house. I
always tell my kids that the assholes, the idiots outnumber us. So be careful what you're doing. We're outnumbered.
We're outnumbered.
That's the truth.
I think Sanitarium might be the best lyrically. Like, it has a...
I was just getting ready to say something along the lines is that I was going to say Hetfield's lyric writing is just, it's stellar, man. He's a great lyric writer.
Yeah.
Just great.
Oh, the other Leper Messiah was the other one I never made the correlation to Ziggy Stardust, because he says it in Spiders from Mars. He said like a leper Messiah. Oh, okay. So they spun something out of that, almost like Rogue One.
I'm gonna pull out the lyric sheet real quick.
So what's your culmination on the Master of Puppets? All-time classic?
Who, me?
Everybody, anybody.
All-time classic? Sure.
My
Especially, I mean, it's like, I mean, I mean, it was what I don't know. I don't know if I could. I guess I could consider this my time, but I was late to the game because I was only like 5 when this was released. You know, but I consider it my generation classic as far as yours, Raul, would be the Jimi Hendrix Experience, or
I didn't say that.
you know what I'm talking about, though.
I know what you're saying, man. I feel you. You know what's crazy? I just thought of. This doesn't feel like a freaking 80s album. You wouldn't think of this as an 80s album, dude. You think 80s, you're thinking Michael Jackson, Madonna, all of this. But, dude, this was right smack in the middle of all that. And it's freaking...
Timeless. This album got more balls than 98% of the music out now.
Yes. Oh, come on. Yes.
Yeah. Yes. And you think... I always have to do this, but I think about contemporary, like Rain and Blood, or what's another one that came out around 86? Peace Sells.
Yeah, that's probably my favorite Megadeth album.
Or
never got into Megadeth.
You're good.
I know, but I just never...
Sepultura's second album came out. That came out in 86, didn't it?
I can't say I've ever heard their second album, because I always thought Chaos AD was their second, but that was like their fourth, I think, or something crazy.
Yeah, it was Schizophrenia. I can't remember the second album's name. I have it on my wish list too. But I've heard it.
But to me, what makes this album timeless is the fact that it's not dated.
Right.
You get like certain bands like Iron Maiden. They're a metal band, but the way Bruce sings, that's like 80s metal.
Yes. Yes, I understand what you're saying. Definitely.
Dio.
Mm-hmm.
So on and so forth. Those are kind of, you can listen to it and say, okay, that's an 80s metal song.
Yeah.
There is none of that.
No. Mm-hmm.
That dates it 80s.
No. It's still hard as shit today.
Yeah. Beyond already knowing when it's from.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, Dio, you nailed it, bro. You can tell that's, even though it's hard, it's 80s.
Yeah. The high pitch.
Yes.
Pitches,
more of a singing, more operatic,
Judas Priest.
Yeah. Although I have been listening to Judas, bro, Heading Out the Highway.
Oh, hell yeah. That's on the driving playlist for sure.
Yeah. Dude, that might be my number one, dude. Blast. That's okay. Back to Metallica. Dude.
I was just about to say I've been listening to a lot of Sacred Reich, which is another contemporary for Metallica. But yeah. If I'm recommending albums to somebody to get into, this would be one I'd hand them. Without a doubt, Peace Sells. Ride the Lightning for sure, because like I said, that's my favorite Metallica album. But this is definitely one that's, you got to listen to this. Listen to this, but listen to this.
For sure.
Don't listen to Whitesnake.
Listen to Whitesnake. Today I was driving, because today, like I said, we went to celebrate a birthday, and we had to drive like an hour. He lives with his dad about an hour away. He's my bonus son, and dude, my wife was driving on the way back, and I'm in charge of the radio always. And bro, fuck, Bon Jovi was playing, and I didn't realize it. And I was like, take this off, I can't listen to this shit. White Snake is in that same category.
Speaking of Bon Jovi, that famous concert date Metallica had before Cliff died, what was over in England? Was it Monsters of Rock or
Donington?
The one where Cliff is in his denim jacket and pants, his bell-bottom pants with a Misfits shirt.
Yeah. That's
that show, they were scheduled last minute because for some odd reason, and they were completely out of their element because this, like, Bon Jovi was the headliner and like all these like hair bands and stuff like that, and they were 1 second invited last minute and play in front of 70,000 people.
Yeah, Monsters of Rock at Castle Donington.
And they probably stole the show.
Epic performance. You can watch it all on YouTube. You know,
that's when I first learned the talent of Cliff Burton. Before that, I didn't know the intro to For Whom the Bell Tolls was him on the bass. I was clueless. And when I saw that, I was like, epic. Wow.
And like I said, that performance and that footage of Cliff is, if you mention Cliff Burton or have an image of Cliff Burton, it's usually from that, you know, it's him wearing the denim with the Misfits.
Yeah. On the back of the album.
I mean, I don't know if he just wore it all the time or.
Yep, that one there. Yep.
And there's the concert they played in the middle.
That.
Oh yeah, that was from the show.
That image and the one with him going like this, and he has the rings on his hands. That's my two favorite shots of Cliff Burton.
Have you seen the picture of his dad wearing his rings and doing that?
Mm-mm.
Yeah, dude, his dad probably in the picture. His dad's probably in his 70s. With the rings up like that, just like Cliff.
That's awesome.
It sucks so bad he died.
He's still living through his son, and that's where he was. You know. Must have been a lot of pain.
Yeah.
When I went to that Monsters of Rock, I was more excited to go see Van Halen because I had never seen Van Halen. And of course, it was with Sammy Hagar and the Scorpions and whatever. You know, Metallica stole the show. They were far and above the best band that day. Well, it wasn't even close, dude. It was just fucking amazing.
So when you saw him the first time, was Cliff still with him or was Jason?
It was 88. I don't know.
It was Jason. Jason Newsted.
It was 88, but they stole the show, dude. They were the best, hands down, dude. They were the best that day. And simple. They came in. It was, you know, Van Halen was the headliner, so they came in at night. They had all the lights and all that stuff. Metallica was just bare bones, dude. You know, it was like probably 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock in the afternoon when they played, and they stole the show. They were the best. Who's next, Donnie?
All right.
And you have a special announcement.
Yes, I have some breaking news. Some might call it unfortunate news. I know Jim is not saddened by this, but due to I guess we'll call it my stance on freedom of speech. It has been requested that the album Harvest by Neil Young be taken and be removed from the wheel. So I took that opportunity to with the help of Steve Whiting, since that's his number, to replace it with, I haven't replaced it yet, with Eliminator by ZZ Top.
And what does Eliminator doing, Boat?
Eliminating.
That's right. It's eliminating.
How cool if it comes out tonight, right? That would be freaking crazy.
That would be crazy. That's what you call cancel.
Out in the desert with a horse and no name.
So it's very unfortunate that
There it is.
that Neil does not.
Neil canceled himself.
That Neil wants to be petty, shall we say, but it is what it is, and spin that wheel.
No whammies, and stop.
Ah,
Oh, yeah.
we were so close, Jim.
Hey, I think Tommy's my pick. I think.
I gotta look. I think it is.
I have never heard the whole album, Tom. I'm sure I know the songs, but I've never heard the whole song. I've never seen the movie.
That is you, Jim.
Hey, but it says London Calling right there, man.
That's because I took it out.
Give me that London Calling.
So the album you guys want to do? Wait up, leave it up for a second. The album you guys want to do the most is which one? Each.
London
That one
Calling.
there, London Calling.
Both of you. What about you, Little Boat?
I don't know. The White Album. That's the one I want to do the most.
Highway, no. Dude, Highway 61 Revisited. Wow.
Number of the Beast. That's
Number.
good.
There's a lot. Damn, there's still so many great
Yeah,
albums.
never mind the bullets.
Yeah, Sex
Yeah.
Pistols, Nirvana's on there. There's a lot of heavy hitters.
I can't pick one.
Why'd my mouse quit?
I can't pick one of them.
Still got 2 Beatles albums on there.
Yeah. Aqualung, that's a good album.
Never,
I ain't heard that album in decades.
I've never heard that. I've heard the title track, but I've never heard the whole album.
So there you have it. Metallica, Master of Puppets. If you haven't heard it for some reason or another, look it up. Definitely recommend that album. Great album, influential album, huge impact. I mean, shit, it's freaking Library of Congress. 2 weeks, we're gonna do the Who's Tommy. Kind of a different gear. It's a rock opera. I've seen the musical or the rock opera, and
Oh, really?
it's a little weird. I've never seen the Who though.
Oh. With the pipe.
Awkward. That was weird.
Oh man.
Anyway,
I love you guys.
I want to thank everybody that popped in the chat. Poor Mike, Steve, Sleep with One Eye Open. That's a different album, Steve.
As long as I ain't the brown eye.
Big D, buddy Kyle from New Zealand, from the future.
I'll walk him, but I haven't seen him in a minute.
He's been working a lot. He's been busy. And as always, I want to thank my co-hosts, Jim and Little Boat and Hialeah, for always making us a fantastic show, and I guess for helping me keep the show alive.
This is always a great hangout.
So 2 weeks, Tommy. Check it out if you haven't. It is a good album. It's their follow-up to probably one of their best albums, Who's Next. But so in the meantime, get out there and listen to some music.